Hey everybody, this is Brian Dunaway, and you're listening to Comics Coast to Coast, episode 209, the Piper Thibodeau interview. Before we get to Piper, we're going to talk to Joel Duggan, my co-host. Joel of Starcrossed Online, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic, my friend. How are things down in South Carolina?
Hot. All right, so hot and humid as usual. Also with us is Matthew Ducharme of mattthewad.com. Matthew, how are you, man?
I am just dandy, sir.
Excellent. Last week had a great show on Saturday morning cartoons. This week we're back to our usual comic interviews. We're still doing this live. You can check it out on YouTube, Comics C2C. You can catch the recording. We'll save all that stuff right there. And you may only see me on the video. We're still working on some stuff, but it's going to be a lot of fun. But let's get on to Piper. Piper, how are you doing?
Hi, I'm doing great. How are you guys doing?
We can't complain. I'm going to read about the artist. And we need to double check your name because this was on the internet, so it could have changed since then. But it says, you are a 21-year-old illustrator and animation student from Montreal, hoping to work in visual development and storyboarding. Are you still 21?
Yep.
Sweet. That's pretty recent then. She is in her final year of animation school with hopes of becoming a concept artist and fulfilling her own personal projects along the way, which I can't wait to hear more about. She's got a lot to learn, and she's really eager to try out new techniques. And when she gets the time, I know what you mean. There's a lot of techniques and a lot of different styles, and it's getting even bigger every day. Piper, where are you going to school at?
Right now I'm going to school at Dawson College, which is a Sídhe up here in Montreal.
Right. Is that like Dawson's Creek? Is that the same place? Is that too old? Because that's a pretty old joke. Because, I mean, that's like, when was Dawson's Creek? Like late 90s? Oh, my gosh. All right, I won't do that again. All right, so let's get topical here. You have a DeviantArt page as well as a Tumblr page, and how can they get to the DeviantArt page?
The DeviantArt page, it's just I'm sorry, my username's kind of hard to spell, but it's do I spell it out or?
You totally can. You can.
It's Cryptid Creations. It's CRYPI. Oh wow, I just misspelled it. I'm sorry.
No, please do.
Yeah, it's just CRYPTID and a little like middle hyphen. I have no idea what those are called.
Yeah, dash. I call it a dash.
Dash.
You can call it what you want
creations.
to.
Creations. Yeah,
so it's cryptidcreations.deviantart.com. If you didn't catch all that, of course, you can go to Comics Coast to Coast, and we'll have links to the show notes and all that good stuff. But I'll tell you, despite the cryptic nature of your URL, I'm looking at the DeviantArt page right now, and I am blown away by the beauty of your artwork, the bold colors, the kind of the cutesy but sketchy but still really tight. It's almost hard to describe without actually going there. And I'm looking at you just recently updated your journal skin on DeviantArt. Totally jealous of this because you've got an animated GIF over there.
That's fun.
Did that take you long? I mean, not the animated GIF, the figuring out how to freaking do the journal scan, because I can't get mine to work worth crap.
Oh yeah, it took forever.
Did it take forever? Good.
It was really frustrating because I actually managed to get the skin to work. Like I finished the skin in like an hour, 2 hours. Like,
right.
And then after I spent almost the entire day trying to get it to finally get it's called CSS, I think.
Yes, cascading style sheets. Yes.
Oh wow, that's it.
That's what that means. I thought it meant because this stuff is hard.
Yeah. So I actually found it was like a generator that you just kind of input some stuff into it and kind of automatically does it.
Well, that's too easy because I'm old school and I came up with the HTML and the CSS and I grew up with all that stuff and we had to learn it by going to text documents and PDF files. But it's I see it here. It's simply DV-us simple. It's clever because they use the US extension. But yeah, that's cool. I'll have to take a look at that because I've had a little bit of trouble with my own DeviantArt. Now I've noticed just quickly the content of what you're doing you look like an animation fan who has studied all the recent decades of from the Angry Beavers to Blues, Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. Are you just a fanatic about animation and cartoons?
I love cartoons, but
Love them.
who doesn't?
But who doesn't? Everybody on this show loves cartoons.
Absolutely.
What's can you tell me your favorite? Do you have a current favorite animation show that you're watching?
Oh gosh.
They're so good, right? There's so many.
I really want to catch up with a lot of stuff lately, but I've been so busy that I haven't really been able to get into Korra and all the shows that everyone's watching. But
right.
Yeah, sometimes I just look at a lot of the classic ones that I'm covering just for fun, like Angry Beavers and Foster's Homes.
Where are you watching Foster's Home and Angry Beavers at? Because I wanna watch them too. Is it on Netflix or Hulu or someplace? Or
oh yeah, I have it on Netflix actually.
Do you really? I didn't.
Not Angry Beavers. No, I have to kind of look through YouTube for that. Sometimes they upload some stuff.
Oh yeah. Did you ever see Two Stupid Dogs?
I actually haven't. I don't think it was really my generation.
No, it wasn't nobody's generation. It was just like a really quick blip on the radar of animation. I just remember how it was about the same time as Dexter's Lab, and it kind of never really took off. But I always thought it was kind of cute and a little bit different. But I'm totally down with all this stuff that you're doing. So are you doing this? You're doing this in your spare time, I'm assuming. Are you getting to do some of this at school or?
Well, right now I actually took a year off of school to kind of advance myself in other ways, and I was supposed to concentrate on animation, but I got kind of sidetracked and started doing a lot of art instead. So, kind of dreading that a bit, but yeah.
I doubt that you've wasted your time.
Oh, totally not.
Yeah, I doubt that you will. I doubt that you will regret the decision at all. Because I was looking through, your daily deviations and paintings and stuff like that. After you get through, a couple hundred, you start to, as you're going back in time, just like anybody else that we interview that draws a lot, you start to really see the advancing. Like you start to see the things that you've been, picking up and learning over the year off. So just on an education standpoint, like, have you felt that you've picked up more on your own, like studying on your own time at your own pace, or do you feel like, the structured school environment was a little bit more, did it facilitate more learning in school, or do you feel like you've done better on your own?
Well, personally, I think that in my case, I kind of like a blend of both just picking out my own classes, probably online later on, and mixing it with self-teaching myself. But I don't really fit into the school system very well personally. I mean, I'm not knocking it. I think that for some people it works fantastically, but I don't really like going over every single little thing. I kind of like. I mean, there's fundamentals, obviously, but I'm just a little bit.
Your art teachers right now are having a stroke.
Oh no, I'm not. I have to say, like, Dawson has amazing teachers. I'm not knocking them off. I personally think that for like my skill set, I probably am more able to take more out of online classes that are more specific to, since I do a lot of, basically my program, we're doing a lot of 3D. Right. And we don't really touch on we touch on it a bit, but not so much the 2D aspects. So I kind of have to compensate with taking other classes, and it's cool. I mean, I'm glad that I actually learned some 3D, even if it's not really my preferred kind of medium. But it actually, a lot of this 3D knowledge actually helped with I can't really mention too much about the job I have at Intel, but
I know you can't talk much about it, but oh my gosh, that technology for that application, because I downloaded it earlier. I'm sure you probably don't do a lot of the programming, but the technology is amazing.
Yeah, it's so cool. They've been working on it for years, apparently.
Yeah, it's called we can say what it is, right? We can say it's Pocket. Yeah, we can say it's Pocket Avatars, right? We can say that.
Yep.
Right, and I'm assuming that, and you can't say too much about it, but I'm assuming that you probably work on the design aspect of as far as the artwork goes. By the way, it's amazing. If you haven't seen it, look up Pocket Avatars. It's a cool little application that reads your facial movements, and it allows you to basically control these characters. And they move their mouth at the same time. It's like motion capture, but you don't need to put green dots on your face or anything to make it work. But it is wicked cool, and it's wicked good too. And I was using my iPhone earlier. And of course, I was just looking at myself making funny faces. And then I decided, hey, you know what? You can flip the camera around and I can walk up to my friends and point the camera at them and make stupid voices and make the little caveman guy move. And so I'm a super sucker for that. But oh man, when you can tell us more about that Intel program thing that you're working with, come back and tell us, because that looks like a lot of fun.
Oh, it's actually been extremely fun to work with. I think that's probably like one of my first real art jobs.
Right.
I thought I was really nervous about that initially because I thought I might not like it, or I might not really be good at taking orders from people. And that was the number one thing I was really scared about. But I was given so much freedom to do what I want, and not that given less freedom would be bad, but
yes, it would. Come on, we all hate less freedom. We want to do what we want to do.
Awesome. Like they just they're like, make some characters, and I made these rotation sheets and these expression sheets, and I had to write notes in with the 3D knowledge that I had from my program. I was able to write notes for the modeler to use afterwards, so that like the 3D model would be better and more accurate. So
well, everybody over there deserves a hand, because this is a top-notch free. Did I mention free application? Now I think there's some in-app purchases and stuff you can do, right? But other than that, it's free to use, and you can record videos and share the videos. Actually, I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna post it. I'm gonna wedge it into the show somewhere on YouTube after we get through and posting it, and I'll probably post one on Twitter too. By the way, you can follow Piper on Twitter. It's just your name, right? And with an underscore in the middle. Is that right?
I think I just have it like. Let me see. I'm sorry.
I'm not even sure. I don't even.
Yeah. There's an underscore.
The thing, there is an underscore in the middle of it.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah.
It's funny now because, when depending on what app you're using on Twitter, it often will just display the user's name without the actual handle. And so I'm the same way. Like I look up friends. It's like, what was their handle again? Like I know who it is. Like I know their name, but I don't know how their handle ends up displaying, because how I have my app set up is to display people's names.
It's about like we're all becoming totally useless. I mean, it's like my girlfriend says. My girlfriend says, somebody asks, "What's your girlfriend's phone number?" And I'm like, "Well, first of all, stop asking me my girlfriend's phone number." But I do use her discount card at a certain place that I won't mention. But what happens is they'll say, "What's the phone number?" And I'm like, I'm gonna have to look at my phone, because when I call her, all I do is pick it up and go, call my girlfriend, and then it calls her. So that's how we roll today in today's technology. We don't remember numbers or names or none of that crap. It's all done for us.
I know. Anymore. Sorry, what was that, Matt?
No, I said we don't even dial.
Yeah, don't even dial anymore.
Yeah. Well, speaking of numbers that are probably pretty easy to remember, 619 is a pretty important number, and that's how many of these daily paints that Piper has put up on her various like DeviantArt profile or Tumblr. So Piper, how did all of this start? I mean, that's a huge commitment, which like deserves a golf clap. But like I'm really curious, like what started you on this path of doing the daily painting journal?
Fear.
Fear.
The great motivator. Fear.
Nice.
Yeah. So what ended up happening is it was a concept that another student in my program was doing, where since we don't really get to do a lot of 2D, I noticed that the first year that I was in my program, I just didn't draw at all, and my skills were decreasing like crazy, and I just really was lost, and I really needed to focus and force myself to just commit to something every single day. And actually, for the first few times, it did not work out at all. Like I actually, if you go really, really back in my deviations on DeviantArt, like there was so many trials where I tried to do like dailies, and I would reach probably like 10 days, and afterwards on the 11th day, I would try to do a penalty one because I missed it. And it never worked out that way. Whenever I would like allow myself to have penalty days and just make up for it, it just was always a mess, and I was never able to continue it, and I couldn't really keep it up. So what I ended up doing to facilitate that was I gave myself a time limit, not a time limit, I'm sorry, a deadline. So every day I have to get it in before 12 o'clock.
And That's super smart because you do the hardest thing in the first part of the morning. That's the secret to success.
Oh yeah, but I probably should do it in the morning because
you mean midnight? That's
midnight.
That's cheating.
You know, I think you're right. I think that I probably should change it to 12 in the morning. That would be smart.
Right.
But
that way you don't stress about it for the rest of the day. That's the secret to success. Do the hardest thing first. Get right up because we automatically all want to go just like, well, I'll do the easy thing first. What's that? Check my email. No, you get in there and you freaking make you do this stuff, do the hard thing first, and then checking emails like, this ain't nothing.
So going through your older deviations, I noticed at some point there's a definite shift, and a pretty abrupt one at that. So I'm wondering, was there like an aha moment behind that shift where something just clicked?
Is it like the shift from doing like paintings with backgrounds to paintings with a white background and I just do the character kind of shift?
Well, even the background stuff is beautiful too, but no, there's a point at which, like, for some reason I don't know, your confidence level went up or something, but so I guess there wasn't really, I guess that was just a natural evolution then.
Yeah, did you get a boost? Like, did someone say, "Hey, you rock," and you're like, "Yeah, I do."
I never really felt like I was improving much, to be honest. like I'm looking back at a lot of the earlier ones, and I could see like some improvement, but I still think that there's a lot of areas that I don't touch upon that I should. Like, I would love to just learn more anatomy so I could have more human type characters and just expand what I could pretty much do. So I don't really want to pat myself on the back yet.
Good, because that keeps you hungry. Never pat yourself on the back.
Are you worried you're gonna run out of Pokemon?
I actually think that's impossible. I'm pretty sure that when I get to the 700, that's like 790, whatever. I actually have no idea.
Right.
They'll probably make a new generation of it by then. And
totally, you'll never be able to keep all that stuff. But can we just say just for a minute, if you're not doing the calendar math, when you're talking about 700, you're talking about well over, almost into 2 years, heading into freaking. That's insane and awesome. I love it. That is some great dedication. And you only had a few false starts with a couple of penalties and stuff. And I want to hear more about your penalty. Is that like a day that you take off, or is that something that you punish yourself with?
I was punishing myself with
Yeah.
it. So what I would do is that I would basically force myself to do 2 paintings in one day. And I only had to do that once with this round of them, or else I would start back at 0.
Right.
And I still kind of have that mentality now that if I make a mess up right now, I'd probably have to go back to 0.
You were hardcore on yourself, man. Congratulations. Good job.
But one time I really could not avoid it. And because I went on a camping trip.
Yeah.
And there was no Wi-Fi, so I had to compensate when I came back.
Whatever, man. I don't want to hear I don't have no Wi-Fi. That's crap, man. No, I'm just kidding. That's a pretty good excuse.
But I intended on doing a sketch there and uploading it, but I was just so tired.
Yeah.
Because it was a winter camping trip, so
wow.
It was like crazy survival kind of thing, and we had to make an igloo, and I tried to draw in my igloo, and it was just a disaster.
Wow, that is wild. Drawn in an igloo. I can't even. Can you even do that? How would you? Wouldn't that be like super cold and make you shake and stuff? Are you working digitally?
Sorry, what?
Are you working digitally? I mean, are you in an igloo with a little digital tablet?
That would be hilarious, actually. If I had my Cintiq companion back then, but
no, not even. Right, you were working on paper.
Yeah, I just had a sketchbook, and I tried 2 minutes into it, and I was like, no, I can't do this.
Do your friends worry about you? I mean, honestly, if you're on a camping trip and everybody's out and you're in the igloo drawing, do they ever get concerned about you and try to help you out or anything? Yeah, okay, I thought so. Good job.
This is for Jim.
Right.
So for hardware, you're on a Cintiq companion now?
Oh yeah, I just a few weeks ago I got a Cintiq companion, and it's awesome.
Did you get the Android version or the Windows version?
I got the Windows version because it has Photoshop.
Yeah, right. So
this is refresh my memory. It's the Cintiq companion is not. It's the standalone tablet computer, right? It's not the thing that you plug into something else.
Yeah, it stands alone. You could it has about 4 hours to 5 hours worth of battery life, and
Awesome.
you could go anywhere. I go to the Tim Hortons around here. I don't know if you Americans have that, but
we know what you're talking about.
oh my gosh,
I don't have one, but I know what you're talking about.
cool.
I do not. I'll have to look it up.
Yeah, that's awesome because I mean I figured that, I mean, obviously I'm guessing that you're working in Photoshop most of the time, but I wasn't sure whether you had like a tablet or a Cintiq, or so did you have like a regular kind of like a Wacom tablet for the longest time?
Oh yeah, I had an Intuos 5
Nice.
for about 2 years, and before that I had an older Intuos, but I've always been like using the Intuos. If I'm mispronouncing that, I'm so sorry.
That's close
No,
enough.
that's fine.
That's what we say.
That's how I would pronounce it. Yeah.
Well, you're Canadian. Of course, that's how you would say it.
Hey, yay! Even Stevens in this podcast, buddy. There's 2 of us and 2 of you.
That's such a Canadian thing to call.
Yeah,
me.
but we're more
Steven.
rude.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Right.
Well, you're only rude because we kicked your butt in 1812. So just deal with that. So with you're digital on the Cintiq Companion, you're able to travel around. So like what's your process for coming up with these images every day? Like do you do like a lot of sketching in the sketchbook, or does it all just kind of happen right on the Companion now?
Right now it's all on the Companion, but I'd like to do a little bit of sketching on the side so I could kind of have some variation because I don't sketch enough. But
right, just like thumbnails, that sort of thing.
Yeah. That'd be nice.
Yeah. If anybody is, I'm sorry. Well, if anybody's listening and you're using the Companion, I'd be curious about the Android version. It is a couple $100 cheaper because you're not paying for the Windows licensing. But I'm wondering what kind of software you're using. Are you using the Sketchbook Pro? Because I know that's available on Android devices, correct?
Yeah, actually, I'm pretty sure about that. You also have Photoshop Express.
On Android, I did not know that.
I'm pretty sure. I can't be too sure.
Yeah, but it's not very good for drawing. It's fairly laggy.
Right,
I
right.
didn't know that. You also don't get as much storage space, which was kind of a turnoff to me.
Right. How much storage space do you have?
I think I have 256 gigs.
Wow, that's pretty darn decent.
And I put so many programs. Sorry.
Right.
I put
Sorry, there's a bit of a.
I'm sorry.
No, it's we're gonna blame Skype.
Wow, this is super polite Canadian talk.
Yeah,
after you.
We're gonna blame Skype. No, it's 256 is the same that's in my MacBook. Like
right.
Like a full on like heavy duty MacBook is got 250.
So what Joel is saying is that it's time for him to get a new MacBook or something, right? Oh yeah.
Oh, I'm jealous. Absolutely jealous.
I'm going to be selfish and just cram this question in here because I really got to know. I love the landscape work that you've got in your DeviantArt. I'm wondering, are there any tips or tricks for background speed painting that you could give? I could use some.
Right.
I think that one of the things I learned is that never actually put any lines in, like never sketch it out. I think that you should just straight on start slapping colors on it. Because when you start trying to make everything really defined, like you would, like I usually, when I'm doing my cartoony kind of stuff, I need to kind of have a little bit of a strong line art underneath it. But with landscapes, I noticed that it always kind of impedes the painting. So it's a lot better to just wing it and just be really free with your brush strokes and everything. And yeah.
Right.
Usually,
I imagine that probably helps keeping some things in softer focus.
Yeah, definitely.
Very good. Very good. I like it. And like, wow, we could just ask about technique all day long. So you're using Photoshop on your Cintiq Companion. So do you feel like it's responsive as something like, say, when you were using your Intuos on a PC, or would you say it's a little bit different and you had to get kind of a little bit of learning curve there?
I got used to it in like a day. Honestly, it was awesome. I thought it was going to be a lot harder, but it was really easy. I'm surprised.
Hey, I'm down with that. Anytime you can learn something that quickly, that's great. I'll tell you, Sketchbook Pro, I thought I would have a hard time transitioning to that because I've used the stupid what is it, the Painter Essentials, which came on my Intuos 4, and I've been using that forever. And but then all of a sudden it just clicked in Sketchbook Pro, and now I don't want to use anything. I'm going to be honest. I'm a little bit of a paint. I'm a little bit of a paint shop kind of snubber. I'm not big into it. Photoshop, excuse me. Did I say paint shop?
You said
Wow.
paint shop. So you're not a Photoshop man.
I'm so snubbing it. I'm not even gonna call it by its real name.
That's so interesting because like in Sketchbook Pro, you can obviously do like custom brushes and stuff like that. But Photoshop, I mean, there's so many options for custom brushes and for, even just downloading other people's brushes. Some people put them in their tutorials. Like Piper, do you have any like favorite Photoshop brushes? Like, do you have a small set of go-to, or are you kind of like all over the place? You're like, are you a brush hoarder? You can tell us.
I'm a brush hoarder.
Brush hoarder.
I've been using like the airbrush tool, like I don't really know the exact name, but it says 19 on it.
Right, like so it's just like the default airbrush tool.
Yeah. I love that tool so much. I love the kind of different opacity that you kind of get when you brush with it. It's really smooth and soft, but I get too dependent on that. I think I should probably get a lot of more.
Well, I mean, your stuff has got a lot of details. I mean, how are you using the airbrush? Is it like for like glazing, I guess, digitally, or are you doing it like for lighting passes? Like how does it work into your flow?
I usually use it for almost everything, and some other brushes that I've gotten from some other artists that I actually posted on my front page.
Oh, cool.
On my site, and so. So a lot of times they're really just soft brushes, and I try to avoid anything too harsh when I'm doing cartoons. But it's really fun.
So it's funny. It's funny how your stuff has that soft look to it. I mean, so I guess you take the softer brushes for your line work, and you just kind of like make them really small.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Oh, cool.
Very good.
The things that you pick up, like, my go-to, and it's probably just my classical training, is like when I go to make a line in Photoshop, I take like a pretty hard brush. I never thought to scale down the soft ones.
Right. The things you can learn on Comics Coast to Coast.
Piper's you've got a really nice kind of lively quality, like to your work, like that you usually only see in sketches. So I'm wondering, what's your method for keeping that sketchy energy when you're doing such nicely polished work?
Well, I think that it might have to do with the fact that when my process of painting something usually starts with I have a sketch, and after I'm going to make a layer underneath there, and I'm going to put in the base colors, and then after, instead of like really paying any attention to the layers at all, I just go over everything. Like I make a layer on top of everything, and I just disregard the layers, and I just try to make it as to the line as possible, in a way.
Right.
To the line art, so it kind of always ends up looking accurate to the first sketch. Because I'm sorry if that was a bad explanation.
No, that was actually a good explanation. I was pondering it.
That's actually more of a detailed explanation than we tend to get for technical questions. So much appreciated.
Awesome.
Very good.
So one of the things that I've noticed in themes that crop up over the many paintings that you've got up on DeviantArt is some video game stuff is starting to poke through. Like, so what video games have you kind of pulled some inspiration from over the years?
Definitely Rayman. Rayman was awesome.
Nice.
It was this platformer game back in the 90s, and what else?
With no arms or legs to speak of. Don't get me started on that game. No, I'm just kidding.
What, I'm trying to think of some. Definitely Pokemon, obviously.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's right. That's a video game too, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, they've played the video game a couple of times. Right.
Yeah. When I think Pokemon, I think TV show.
Oh, okay. I can see that.
So while I was looking through some of your DeviantArt stuff, my wife crept up behind me and peeked, and she said, she said, first off, wow, of course. But then the next thing out of her mouth was like, oh, she's like a softer Tim Burton.
Oh.
Was he at all an influence on your work?
I think that I kind of like his sharp edginess to his work. Like he has a lot of cool edges on his characters, and I think that when I did this cat character for my film, it was a little bit Burton inspired.
Right.
I think.
I definitely feel that from the more recent ones you did with the dog with the zombie arm in his mouth. Is that the one she was referring to?
It's Frankenweenie.
Frankenweenie. That would definitely be a Burton-esque influence.
Definitely.
Love it.
I like the big eyes that he does.
Yeah, I do too.
Really cool.
They're so I don't know. There's something so endearing about every character he's ever done. I mean, all the way even Edward Scissorhands. Johnny Depp managed to make me love him, even though it's not really animated. Well, I guess you could kind of consider Johnny Depp like a cartoon.
Oh, he's a walking cartoon,
right?
I would be on board with that. I just watched him in Dark Shadows last night with Jocelyn, and the man is a cartoon.
Right. My girlfriend just said, "I love that." She saw me showing the stuff too. So good job. You've struck a chord with 2 out of the 3 women on Comics Coast to Coast. Good job.
I bet Jocelyn would love it too. So.
Yeah, she does actually. She's not here to say so, but yeah.
3 out of 3. There you go.
There you go. How does that go? 3 to 3 girlfriends of podcasters, and wives and stuff recommend Piper Thibodeau. Significant other approved. That's great. So I mean, we've covered some Tim Burton stuff, but what other influences have you I guess pulled from over the years? I mean, more so in your, I guess, once you realized that you wanted to be a professional, like what other professionals do you look for inspiration from?
Well, I really love Nico Martlet. If I'm mispronouncing his name, I am so sorry. Nico Martlet.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was the character designer on How to Train Your Dragon and Kung Fu Panda.
Yes.
He just like I just wanted to make my work a lot shapier after I saw his stuff because he has that kind of appeal to it that I love it so much, and I don't want to copy his style, but
no, I like how he's got these nice really curved lines, and all of a sudden he'll take a sharp angle, and I just like how he does that in his work. It looks really good to me. I dig it.
Oh, another guy that this is actually really cool. His name's Tom Bancroft.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We may have talked to that guy.
He said to say hi, by the way.
Oh my gosh.
Nice.
So cool.
Yeah. So we interviewed Tom a few weeks ago on the show, and then just in casual conversation with him this morning, I was emailing him, and I got his newsletter from the Top by a Pro website. And said, "Hey, check out our character design competition. We've revealed the winners." And was kind of like, "Hey, cool! I'm interviewing the winner tonight." So congratulations on your win. It was the turkeys, I think, that won the competition.
Oh, really? The turkeys? I haven't seen that one. I'm going through your DeviantArt page now. I'm actually enjoying the Animaniacs, but I haven't gotten to the turkey yet. Is that on your DeviantArt page? Or is that something?
I don't know if I saw it on the DeviantArt page.
It's definitely on there.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll look for it, Brian. I'll send you the link.
Influences on your work, and judging by some of your illustrations, I'm guessing you have a little feathered muse who apparently loves all things Apple. Am I wrong?
Oh, yes, very, very much. And I'm surprised that he's not squawking hysterically right now, because I was really scared that, because oftentimes when I'm talking on the phone or anything, he interrupts me, so I had to hide him away.
Yeah.
So he just shut up for a bit.
Oh, that's awesome. That happens.
Before I even knew we were going to be interviewing you, I think like maybe a week ago or something, or a couple weeks ago, I was on DeviantArt and just spotted your little stabby feets illustration. So, obviously you're hitting a chord with the DeviantArt crowd as well.
Yeah, they really like that bird.
They do. You are really successful in DeviantArt. How do you feel Tumblr is? Because I know you're focusing on both of those kind of social websites. Do you find that you have? I know DeviantArt is probably more geared towards people who are doing art, or big appreciators of art connoisseurship, as opposed to like Tumblr, where it's kind of like, oh, that's a clever idea. Oh, I really dig that artwork. So do you feel like do you feel like you kind of favor one or the other, or is it kind of all good? It's all good.
I actually feel like Twitter is my favorite platform, to be honest.
Hey, nothing wrong with that. That's what we like too.
Because I kind of like seeing the bar of other artists, and not to put off DeviantArt or anything, but
right.
Because of the age demographic is a little bit lower on DeviantArt, so I tend to use it just more as self-promotional kind of stuff and not really a community kind of site.
Yeah.
Whereas Twitter, it's just fantastic because especially with sketch dailies and everything, and like now I'm seeing that there's even more sketch groups that are starting up. It's awesome. I think that it's a fantastic way to just even get connected with other artists and make friends and everything.
Right. I didn't see your Facebook page, so I'm assuming that means that's out, right?
I have
Facebook is for
but
suckers.
I don't really like using it very much.
Yeah, me
It's such a
either.
terrible thing to use. I mean, you know that's where all the people are, but just like the interface just makes my skin
yeah.
crawl. It's so hard. It's funny that you mentioned. Sorry, go ahead.
It's really informal feeling. I had a page on there, and I just took it down because it felt too much like just how I would talk with friends and everything, and it's like too connected. I want to separate that a bit.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned the sketch dailies thing. And nice to hear that you're getting such a positive, experience from it, because I've heard kind of a split. I mean, there's people that love it, and then there's people that feel like it's some sort of competition, and they feel like their time is being wasted by drawing other people's properties and stuff like that. Like, so have you found like more followers through sketch dailies? Because I'm pretty sure that's how I found your art, was through the sketch dailies.
Oh yeah, it definitely gave me some exposure. Especially on Twitter. I mean, I wouldn't have gotten anyone to follow me on Twitter without that. I'm pretty sure. But I kind of disagree respectively. I think that it's a really nice, like, I don't really get that kind of competition aspect out of it. Like I think that it's pretty fair.
Right.
Like maybe with the prizes, like the Wacom prizes, but
yes, no, that's all.
That might make it a little bit more competitive, but in general, I think that it's pretty neutral, and everyone gets to see each other's artwork when you put the hashtag. So it's it's not only like you're confined to seeing what they featured.
Right.
Yeah, no, I do a search column on TweetDeck, so I get everything from a 10-year-old participating to a professional character designer at DreamWorks throwing in their take.
That's really cool.
Yeah, one of the biggest things I think was the new Batgirl costume redesign. That seemed like it just completely blew up on Sketch Dailies, and it was really cool to see everybody's kind of different take on it. So I mean, you obviously participate in the Sketch Dailies from time to time. Like, what makes you decide to go that route for the daily painting journal as opposed to like another Pokemon or whatever?
It's usually time constraints, because I have a feeling that like when I approach a Pokemon kind of thing, because I know that I'm gonna have a print of that later.
Right.
I spend a little bit more time on it, and when it's something film related, I'll spend a lot more time on it. But when it's a sketch dailies, and it's not to knock off sketch dailies or anything, but like I tend to be a lot faster. Like the last thing I just did, actually that wasn't for sketch dailies, but the same concept, like Twitter suggestions for art, like.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'll spend minimal time on it, and it still kind of suffices for the day's work in that area.
Right. I love it. So, are you working on any just big projects that you're just like going, okay, because you're doing the sketch dailies and they're fantastic, but are you working towards any pinnacle, like a little project that you're working on in the background that you're not showing us every day? Because this is a great outlet. I mean, drawing every day and then posting it and getting feedback. But what's the long-term plan? You have something going on there?
With my dailies, I would love to turn them in particular into just kind of eventually into warm-ups that I do early on in the morning, and then after for the rest of the day, I actually want to try to work on an actual project.
Right.
Like I was gonna learn how to do comics. That was definitely something that I wasn't able to touch over school, so I would really like to read up on that, because I think it's a cool another venue that I haven't.
Right. And you're talking comic books, right?
Oh yeah, especially French graphic novels. I love those.
Yeah, we get a lot of that. We've had a lot of people that just love the French graphic novels. Do you have a particular in mind that you like that just blows your socks off?
Yeah, but unfortunately, I've been dying to get the book, but unfortunately, it's really hard to find. So I've seen screenshots of it online, but I'm in love with the style, and I'm confident to say that I love it so much. It's called Kairos, I think.
How do you spell that?
Kairos.
All right.
I'm pretty sure
down with
that's
that.
how you spell it.
I'm pretty sure it probably is better spelling than I would have guessed because I was going with a Y or something.
And I think the actual illustrator behind there, he actually was a student from Gobelin, which I just find so insanely inspirational.
Oh, this is beautiful.
'Cause
Okay, I'm seeing it now. I'm bringing it up in the Skype window if you can
Oh,
see it.
it's gorgeous, and they actually had they had an animated trailer, even if it's not animation,
Right.
and it was so cool. I really recommend seeing it. I love that.
Oh, here's the trailer now. I'll have to link to that. It's animated trailer for the French comic Kairos is teeming with adventure. I won't play it now, but soon in the show notes, linkies. All right, here we go. I'm gonna put that in there. Very good. So that's great. So have you kind of thought much about it? Like how are you gonna do it? You gonna do it digitally? You gonna try to go old school a little bit, or break out the pad, put the companion to the side, or?
I think I might, because I don't want to get too attached to digital art. I think that I'd like to, because for a while I didn't really post anything of that, but I used to use watercolors and pen, and I think that'd be really cool. So it'd force myself to kind of try different styles instead of, I mean, lately I kind of go in circles a bit with my style, and I really think that I could expand a lot, and that would be a really good way. I mean, it could not look the same. I'm very sure that I can't replicate the same style that I have digitally if I do it traditionally. So I'll end up with a different result. So it would be really cool.
Good idea. Good plan. I'm excited. I can't wait. Why are we still talking? Go get it done right now. I want to see it.
Just gotta learn it.
Right, just gotta learn a little bit. That's all, Brian. Just a little bit of learning.
My other project is my student film, which is my current stressor.
So is there a big deadline coming up on that?
Oh yeah. Well, now that the semester's starting, they're gonna expect me to work on it full time, and I mean, it means a lot to me to make it right, because I actually think that I'm gonna expand my film idea probably into a graphic novel later if it works out.
Right.
And yeah, so now I'm just on edge because I have to do the model. We have to make it in 3D.
Right.
I would have preferred to do in 2D, but I'm going to try to put in as much 2D as I can. But I have to do the rigging now, so that's why my dailies are kind of not as, like, I've kind of stopped the Pokemon for a bit, so I could kind of have more time to
just don't go punishing yourselves again, okay? I mean,
yeah,
just don't do it. We appreciate it, but don't.
So is the school requiring you to do the modeling, rigging, animation, storyboarding, like the whole thing?
Yeah.
Wow. Nice. I wonder if the school knows that's not how it works in the real world.
It'd be cool if I could find someone to do the model.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, it would probably cause some friction with the school credit, but in the industry, that's what you do. You hire a guy that does the modeling or a girl that does the rigging, and then you just find an animator, and you have a small team that makes a short film.
I'm really invested in doing the art and everything behind doing the short film, and like the storyboards. That's definitely pre-production is my area of interest. But
absolutely.
So
now, just out of curiosity, sorry, go ahead, Matt.
Oh, I was just going to say, have you worked on any animations in the past, or is this your first foray into the world of moving pictures?
First foray. I hope I actually don't mess up, because I have some other film ideas that I'd really love to try. So
you won't mess up. Well, if you do mess up,
you'll be fine.
It's okay. It's part of the learning process. You're supposed to
definitely.
Mess up. Yeah. So I'm down with that. Joel, you was going to say something.
Well, I was going to ask about, I've seen some very interesting techniques with animation lately in terms of, like, After Effects animation, which is obviously 2D. But I'm thinking, like, I was trying to Google it in the short time there, but there was a short that came out, and it was stop motion animation. But what they had done was print out hand-drawn animation on cards, and then did stop motion animation with, like, these kind of placeholders in the scene. It was like a commercial or a promo for something.
I think I know what you're talking about.
There's
actually,
a bear and a rabbit and stuff.
Yeah,
remember that?
It was a Christmas commercial.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome.
It's beautiful. It's breathtaking work. And I'm wondering if you might be able to do something, or maybe it's too late, but if you might be able to incorporate some, like, projection of 2D in a 3D environment, if that would kind of marry the best of both worlds. Because I mean, your 2D stuff is just so colorful and so lively that I feel like it has to be in your 3D work at some point. Like,
I know.
Are you at least painting the backgrounds? Like, please tell me you're doing something.
Actually, what I'm doing is I'm gonna try to do as much as possible so that I could be more persuasive when I try to get this passed. But I'm gonna try to do every background as a projection map, so that
Nice.
it's like a projection map painting. And my cats in the film are gonna be 2D, so that like I'm only gonna do like the minimal amount of 3D. Like the main character has to be 3D.
Right.
And maybe some props that are in the foreground, since that might look a little bit awkward. But overall, I think that what's going to end up happening is that I'm going to take everything and in post-production, it's going to be rendered out in After Effects. So I'm just going to take the character that's in 3D, and I'm going to take make an image sequence of his animation and bring it in as a PNG, so I could like kind of just slap him onto the backgrounds that are painted.
Nice.
Which is going to be a bit of.
And I bet you get an A. True story.
Going on a limb, Brian. Going on.
No, I'm telling you, that was always the way it was when I was in art school. It's like the teachers, believe it or not, really appreciated when you would think a little bit outside the box. As long as you still stay within the parameters of what you're supposed to be doing, they appreciate that. So I think if she's got a good crew over there, I think she'll do fine.
Absolutely.
Well, I think if you're cheating for a better result, then I think that's that's what they're okay with. But if you're cheating to get out of something, then that's what they don't like so much.
Yeah. Cheating for a better result is also how it works in the real world.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You know, you innovate.
By the way, I finally saw those turkeys that you did so well.
Oh, they are great.
Yeah, look at those. And this was the contest for Top by a Pro with Tom Bancroft, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that was awesome. And I'm just so great. I know I thanked him before, but I just want to, if he hears this, like, thank you just so much for the critique, because I really need that so badly, and I really appreciate it. Like, to see a red line of my work and to kind of notice that, okay, I need help with posing, and especially now since I'm going to concentrate on that when I get the chance, that that's an area that needs help also in animation. So it was awesome to get feedback, especially from him, because
Thomas, exactly. Thomas, man. It's because it's Tom. Yo, it's Tom.
He animated Simba.
We on here on Comics Coast to Coast love Tom. It's the Tom Show. All right, so very good. We're coming down to the wire. We got about 10 more minutes that we're gonna inundate you with questions. So if you guys have a few final questions that you would like to throw out to Piper, go ahead and get it now. Do it now.
Well, the one that I always like is, do you remember the first time you drew something and said, "Hey, I'm an artist. I can do this"?
I never really considered myself an artist until I was like a late teenager. Like I would doodle a lot. Like I would doodle instead of doing any kind of work in school. That was kind of my thing when I was younger. I would handed pages just filled with monster doodles all over there, and like no words almost.
Right.
And drove my teachers nuts, but it was always kind of like a hobby.
That's your job. Drive me crazy.
And it was always kind of a hobby, but then later on, like when I started working digitally, it's like, maybe I could do a career out of this, and it kind of pushed me.
I think you're doing great. So, all right, that's an excellent answer. I want to ask also, how many more days are you going to do these daily sketches? Are you going to do them for 2 years, 3 years, until you just can't? Till you die. Right answer. Nice. That's what I wanted to hear.
I don't know if I could make it till I die, without missing a beat, because I'm pretty sure there's gonna be something that happens like between now and then. Something will get in my way. But
it's been an amazing run, regardless. And I'm curious, do you have any plans for like putting this thing into a book or something? Did you draw? They look fantastic on screen. Did you make them big enough to put them in print?
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
But I don't think that I could do that, since there's quite a bit of copyright infringement. So I'm pretty sure.
True. That's a good point. That's a good point.
Unfortunately, I think that'll be a lot.
Piper would be ideal for is to be in the next collection of Snorfels and Meeps, whatever the next one is. It's right up her alley.
Yeah, there's a couple episodes back. If you go back, Snorfels and Meeps is this great illustration of the book is beautiful.
Yeah,
They were
Stephanie Liberis and Janine. Oh gosh, what's Janine's last name?
Was it
look it up on Comics Coast to Coast earlier this year.
But they were both. She was at the Phoenix Comic Con at that time, and so sweet. And this past week, nobody even mentioned this last week was San Diego Comic Con, right? I know what just happened.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So did anybody get any touches with that? Piper, do you have anybody that went out there that you knew?
Unfortunately, I don't know anyone who went there.
Right.
I'm going to CTN this year, but.
Oh, sweet.
Nice.
Now, are you going, Joel?
I'm sure you'll enjoy that. I wish I was going to CTN. No, at the moment it's not in the budget, but Piper, it sounds like CTN is like the place for you to be. I've heard so many good things about artists that are up and coming that want to do the kind of things that you want to do. Meeting and making friends. At CTNX. Very, very cool. A selfish question of my own. You and I had talked briefly on DeviantArt about line art style and that I'm learning to paint and stuff like that. Do you have any plans at all to record your painting process, even if it's just progression GIFs, but like a YouTube video or something would be epic to see the creative process of like blank page to finished on one of your daily paints. So any plans to do that in the future?
I think I might. I mean, right now at this point in time, I think that I'm a little bit time constrained because I'd really want to put something out that's not crappy. But because I notice that oftentimes when I record myself, I want to get over my kind of stage fright that I get a little bit when I feel like, oh no, I'm recording this, everyone's seeing my mistakes.
Right.
And I start making a ton of mistakes.
Yeah, that does take a couple times to get used to. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and I did a tutorial video for a concept cookie, and so it took me a couple of tries to finally get one that was good.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with it. You gotta Brian Brushwood, who's also part of the Frog Pants Network, has been doing stuff and is blowing up right now. And I will see very shortly at DragonCon. One of the things that I remember him talking about for success was you got to have a safe place to fail. And so just, you're there, just fail. You fail until you succeed.
True.
Just keep doing it. And eventually you'll be fine. No one's going to eat you. If you mess up a couple of times, they're not going to judge you and go, that's it, I'm turning this off. I'm turning it off. She messed up. This is terrible. She's such a faker. That's not going to happen.
You should send us the link to that tutorial because we'll include it with the blog post.
Oh, sure.
Absolutely.
Oh, you've got it, Matt?
Yeah, I'll put it up.
Oh, you got it?
Oh, I think that you have to subscribe to the site see the video.
You can still put the link. So
cool.
And then you can decide for yourself, dear listener, whether or not you want to subscribe. And you can. Piper, I want to thank you so much for being on the show tonight. You're an amazing talent, and you're going to continue to grow, and I can't wait to see what you're going to do next.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for the opportunity. It was a really fun interview. Absolutely.
Well, good. We're glad we can make it fun. And where might people visit you on the internet? Where's the best place to go?
Probably DeviantArt.
DeviantArt. Head over to DeviantArt, and that's where I've been. We'll post show notes that will have links to all the goodness. I want to thank everybody for being on the show tonight. Joel Duggan of Starcrossed Online. Joel.
That is me. Don't forget to check out my Patreon page. That's patreon.com/Joel Duggan.
Very good. Matthew Ducharme.
I do not have a Patreon page, but maybe I should. You can find me on Twitter, Matt_the_wad.
Very good. That's it. Brian Dunaway. You can follow me at the Brian Dunaway on Twitter, and you can follow everything we do on comicscoasttocoast.com. Also, check out our new YouTube channel at youtube.com, Comics C2C. We have a Facebook page. We have a Google Plus page. We got all the social stuff. Whatever. Go look at it. It's a lot of fun. And do go back to the archives. We've had some great interviews recently, including the one we just had with Piper, and we've had some Saturday morning shows that we did where we waxed nostalgic about all those great cartoons from the 70s, 80s, and 90s. No, we didn't cover the 50s or the 60s. Who watched TV then? I don't know. Somebody did. Or the 2000s or after, because it got really fractured. So that's it. I had a great time. Thank you guys so much. This has been Comics Coast to Coast, and we'll see you guys next week.
Nice. Good stuff.
I had fun. Thank you so much, Piper. It was
No problem.
blast.
I thought I was kind of nervous first, but like you guys made it really. I calmed down.
You're great.
Good.
You don't have to be
gosh,
nervous.
Thank you.
We're just a bunch of nerds.
Yeah, we're just a bunch of artists who like to talk shop.
Yeah. So, and you're welcome to come back on the show anytime that you got some. When that film gets a little bit closer to being done, we want to.
Or your top secret thing that you couldn't talk about.
Exactly. When you get all that stuff ready to go, let us know. We will get you back on the show. We'll talk some more about it. And
Awesome.
maybe we'll make you really nervous. We'll make we'll make Tom Bancroft come back on and he'll co-host with us, and then you can
my gosh.
Yeah.
then you can be
That'd be
nervous.
I'd be really nervous. Oh, he's a really cool guy. Like,
He is. He's super
just-
nice.
Yeah,
that,
Tom's great.
That was the most concise red line I ever got.
That's great.
And I printed it out. I put it on my wall. It's like I remind myself, like, because it's so
Nice.
cool. Because I actually I got his book back when like in middle school, like his book on how to create characters, and it's just I would always read this, and to have him
Right.
actually critique my stuff was just it was like one of the greatest moments.
Spot on. You can't beat that. And that's that's one of the reasons why we do Comics Coast to Coast, is because I've gotten to talk to one of my heroes, which was the creator of Rocco's Modern Life, and it's Joe Murray was on the show, and I was like I'm done. That's it. I talked to the man I wanted to talk to. I'm done. Going home now. But yes, that's what's great about the comic community, getting to meet those people that you grew up loving, because this is really a really good community of people that will share with you. You don't run into too many jerks. You'll run into a few.
Except Mr. Dunaway.
Yeah, he's a big jerk face. He's a jerky face.
I know this one guy, but I don't want to mention it right now because we're on the call. But
Right. I'm recording this, Joel. I'm gonna destroy you, man. All right. Well, everybody go back to doing what they were doing before we did this, which is probably drawing.
Probably.
Am I close? Absolutely. And this, go ahead. What was you saying, Matt? You're not drawing?
I got to move some furniture. We rented out our in-laws, so we got them coming in tomorrow.
You rented out your in-laws.
Yep.
Nice. I'm down with that.